Hello, this is Miracle of the Mushroom King, my third project for Games Proposal. I tried to incorporate and expand on things that I'd learnt in the beginning of the year with this project. I also wanted to make something that felt more complete, adding music and sound effects. This game is a wave-based fighting game where the player takes the role of a sentient mushroom character. I do think that a third-person perspective would have suited this game better as a full game, but I couldn't find a character to fit, so I opted for a first person. During Wave 1, the player has access to a trap menu. They can use this to drag and drop traps into their world. There are several traps that can aid the player: freeze traps, mines, both air and floor, and turrets. Turrets were a little OP, so I had to balance these, though they were a lot of fun before I did. Traps have a limited number of uses in them. To show the player that they were running out, I added a texture that flashes when it's running low. When the player is ready for the first wave, they can wait or they can choose to skip to the next mode. This was a feature requested by test players. Each mode has its own user input to interact with the world. For example, the player has no weapon during the setup phase. This stops the player getting stuck with a mouse cursor during a fight. During the waves, enemies are spawned at random from set areas on the map. The player can find power-ups in the world during this stage that offer buffs like health, shield, and special bullets. The buffs do not carry over into the next phase. The reason for this was to encourage players to move around the map during the waves, rather than always staying in one spot. Although they can be strategic and use traps to secure an area near a power-up spawn point. That said, power-ups are randomised, so they'd also need luck to be on their side. Players can use the minimap to track these down, and once collected, they can be seen in the HUD on the bottom left. Some test players also showed that players didn't realise that there were power-ups on the map. It was after this that I added the minimap. I also added a tip on the top of the HUD to let players know that power-ups had spawned. The player must survive the waves for as long as possible, earning a high score. When they do eventually die, they will get to see all their stats from the game. The enemies in this level are programmed to run and attack the player once, before running back to a random spawn point and trying again. This was so the player wasn't being constantly attacked, and gives them a chance to retaliate. The limited enemy variety does give this game a bit of a repetitive feel, and with more time I would have liked to incorporate larger enemies every fifth wave or so, to give a bit more variety and challenge. In the level design, I focused on creating choke points that the player could use to fortify an area of the map using traps. So the map is laid out with 3 areas like this, and one more open space near the lake for the brave. Thanks for watching.